Hey, are you seriously podcasting alone?
Nah, I'm with my
Are you seriously making out right now? Nah.
No, we're not.
No,
because I'm with the boy.
No, yeah. I'm with the boys.
I'm making out with my boys. Hello, everybody. I am John, sitting here with another John and Nicola. And today,
I'm going to be presenting something. It's me. It's the girls' time this time.
Priscilla.
we are the boys. Welcome to the Boys versus Everything. Today, presenting the episode is Priscilla.
Yes.
How you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm really happy to be presenting this episode. I'm excited for it.
Yuck. A lady? No girls allowed.
It's the boys.
Oh my God. Are you seriously podcasting with women?
Exactly.
Is that girl a boy too?
I need you.
Yes.
Because Priscilla is literally there for like every episode. It's just that like sometimes she doesn't have a mic.
It's just like society, you know? Like the boys are in front and the women are in the back.
Oh shit.
Whoa.
Damn.
Crazy.
We don't respond to
right.
that.
That's
little
what,
too
that's
on
what
the
happens
nose.
when you give a woman the mic.
You're a little bit too right.
We want to be nominated
God.
for a podcast award, please.
But yes, welcome to my episode. It's my time now, and I want to talk about disco with you guys.
Wow.
Disco has always been a genre of music that I was always very interested in, really loved, and I think people don't give it as much credit to music for today and how much it influenced. So kind of wanted to talk to you guys about it.
At a certain point right now, it's like completely forgotten. Like it literally is completely dead. Like I've not seen a disco song in forever.
I think people just think of the Staying Alive and like the rest they don't even know about.
Yeah.
Oh, you can tell.
I can't. I'm not going to do it all.
We said it before this, John. No singing. He peaked and broke the mic.
Staying alive. But yeah, it's that's the question everybody has in their minds. Like, oh, whatever happened to disco? It's just kind of like whatever. Like, what is it even nowadays? So,
Who is disco?
who is disco?
How would you
What is
classify
disco?
disco? You know.
Exactly. So yeah, like I always thought there was like something quite unreal about disco. You know, like this genre of music is now a Halloween costume for all of us. You know, like tacky bright lights, twinkling disco balls, funky clothing, corny dancing, and so on.
Have you ever seen the like Spirit Halloween disco costume?
Yes.
It's always a white guy with an afro. Why is it always a white guy? Do they think it's racist to give a black guy an afro?
Oh, it's not racist because the curls are different. It's badly curled. That's why.
Is it more racist to give it to a white guy?
No, because it's more like Jufros, I feel. No offense. It's like
We'll have to add that to your PowerPoint. Guys, is it racist?
No,
Are
it's just a
Jufros
Jufro.
Are Jufros cultural appropriation?
Nah, it's naturally for the Jews. Sorry, they have Jufros. We have Afros. Any other white person and or not other white person cannot have fros.
Yo, if I let my shit grow, it turns into a Jufro. On God.
That's a Porchafro.
That
Portugal fro, and
Even though it's
that's
not a real
racist.
country.
But yeah, it's just like disco, like John's saying. It's never really taken seriously. It looks like a really like ridiculous costume to all of us, and
I feel like the disco spirit is still alive in the EDM crowd.
Oh, like
Same amount of drugs.
Let me tell you about that.
Same amount of staying up at night. You know what I mean?
It's a relic of its time, but yes, you are right. Like it is still there, but under different names. And I'll tell you guys all about it just a little bit later. But yeah, there was a time disco fever was a thing. Disco was everywhere in the 70s. It was the decade of disco. But it was also synonymous with innovation, and it was the coolest thing you could be. Like being a disco queen, disco king, coolest thing you could be. A genre that was all about pride and joy for the marginalized folk, the hip but tragically underground, and yet somehow so mainstream that everybody wanted to capitalize on it. You just couldn't go wrong with disco. Well, until suddenly you did go wrong with disco.
Oh no.
It feels like it almost died overnight too.
You'd be surprised.
Were you there?
No, but it's
Were you there?
I've seen documentaries about it and stuff, and
The History Channel's What Happened to Disco?
The aliens.
As far as I know, we're like the only documentary.
John, shut the fuck
so
up.
far.
The aliens got the disco. That's
your
what
ass
really
up.
happened.
They just put some
Fucking
beatbox in
jive
there.
turkey.
Put some beatbox in there, turned into dubstep.
Jive turkey.
Those are fighting words.
So if we start out with, I just want to say, how did disco become so cool in the first place? So disco actually has a longer history than people actually think. Disco comes from the word discothèque, which is the
The
club's
French word for
the
it.
French word, and we love the French on this podcast.
Amazing.
But the French back in discothèque, exactly. If you guys wanted to know how it's pronounced, discothèque. Back in the 1930s, 40s, during World War II, the French had clubs, the Germans as well, where they used to have discotheques, which is in Latin meaning record library, like library of records, basically.
Oh, yeah, Hans, come on down to the discotheque. I want to groove.
I want to groove.
I have the need to groove.
Those discos were actually upscale clubs, like very upscale. They used turntables to play some vinyls, which is like basically a bit of the origins of DJs, which is disc jockeys. They would use vinyls of jazz and other prominent black artists at the time because they couldn't use live musicians. The Germans would not let them use live. They would not let them use live musicians under Nazi rule.
Magicians?
Did the Germans know? Did the Germans know this was black music?
They did, but because it was vinyl, they were like, as long as we don't see them.
I feel like that was the vibe for most of the people.
So that was in the 1930s and the 40s. So like they had the ideas of using turntables and vinyls to play the music because they had to circumvent the restriction of not having live musicians there or live magicians.
Was there a
some
thing?
people
Was
would
there a
say.
thing like? Was there a reason why they couldn't have live musicians?
So well, like the musicians that they would use that were the most popular as well were like jazz and like
Were they all Jewish?
No, but it was a lot of more black artists as well. So black artists like were not, super well seen
And why is that?
It was
under Nazi
Germany.
rule.
Oh, wait, you mean this was a Nazi thing?
Yes, it was. It was
my
under
God.
Nazi rule because it was 30s,
so
40s.
the Nazis invented disco?
No,
No.
please God, no.
Hey, let me-
Meanwhile, in French-occupied France, like Nazi-occupied Germany,
The French invented the discotheques, but the Germans were also using it because they were like, the French are doing something cool. Let's steal that because, they're under our rule right now.
Friedrich, you know that funky sound you were looking for? Well, listen to this.
Oh man, Nazi Back to the Future is the movie I never thought I needed right now. In 1964, the discotheque's idea of turntables made their way through England with DJ Jimmy Savile, who's a just horrible guy. Don't have time to get into it right now. At a club called Mecca Locarno, which was a
He
pretty
just kicked the
popular
fucking
club.
dogs in his lifetime. He kicked a bunch of fucking dogs in his
The
lifetime.
only way you
That's
can
how bad
sing,
he is.
Only way you can sing at his freaking at his discotheque is
To
if you
kick
kick
a
the
dog.
dog.
You come in.
Where
the
was he
bouncer's
from?
like,
Where
"Do you
was
kick-"
where was he from?
Who?
Jimmy Savile.
He's English. He's
Oh,
an English DJ.
From the UK.
Oh, you want a DJ in this club? You gotta kick this dog, eh?
Oh, please.
Oh,
Let's,
that
let's
was
do the
It was
English.
pretty awesome.
That was pretty
I didn't do this right.
too used to punching kangaroos.
He was the first one to be sent to Australia.
That was his
One of the
crime.
First Nations of Australia.
First Nations. The native.
The
the
natives of
native
Australia.
English.
The dog kickers.
That's how the discotheque died. They just sent them all to Australia.
But yeah, he was at a club called Mecca Locarno. He was a DJ there. And according according to the History of Disco, the article by Dr. Portia K. Maltby, which was a very helpful article, DJ Jimmy Savile requested 2 turntables set up side by side on the stage instead of the initial setup of 1 turntable hidden away from the light box in sight of the dancers.
He started the original MCs.
Yes.
Yo.
Well, like at least the concept of it, because it wasn't, they were DJing, but it's not yet the DJing that we know of today. But it's
like the natural progression of like
just spinning like
scratching,
Elvis
scratching
records.
They were dipping back into 20s music as well, but there was also artists at the time that were there as well that they were using. So like 60s also like records that were using soul most notably. I'm gonna get to that, but like they weren't going that far back, but they were interested in the older sound as well.
That's why they were pissed as hell when people started scratching their records to make music. They're like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?
You're ruining my thing,
My beautiful
Music,
box
man."
of records."
but it's not there yet. But he is responsible for putting DJs more into the limelight of the thing instead of a hidden affair. So that's kind of the start of people being like, "Oh, okay, there's a DJ like there doing the music. That's pretty cool."
That's dope.
In these early years, the European discotheque began to refer specifically to a smaller party and dance space as opposed of larger dance halls built to hold thousands. So it was getting to be slightly of a smaller affair, and they would call those more like discotheques and discos.
That's so they can sling coke. More private.
Coke was flowing all the time. But still, at the time, DJs would play the whole song on the turntable and would have those little awkward pauses in between to put another record on, obviously. So the history of DJing gets a little fuzzy because apparently a year later in New York, in a popular club called the Arthur, known for having a lot of celebrities showing up, again, very popular, discotheques were known to be upscaled a bit. A dancer named Terry Knoll was innovating DJing by seamlessly mixing 2 records together so that there would be no pauses in between, at least from what I read.
Man invented the crossfade.
Basically. But it was really impressive because this is, without like having faders, without having like a proper console. Like this man the way he innovated was literally trying to place
He just quick reloaded a track.
That's how you ghetto DJ. It's when you don't have any of those things and you're just so ready to cue, one after the other.
But like the way would go, like if I'll just continue real quick. It's like, but yeah, like when I researched a little bit more, there was also the name of Francis Grasso. He was a regular dancer at the Salvation 2, another New York club that Terry Knoll was residing in. And Terry took just way too much acid that night, is what that article said. And Grasso, who was like just a dancer over there, like at the club, they were like, "Fuck it, we need a DJ. Could you DJ? You're dancing enough at these clubs. You have, I don't know, a natural inclination."
That's the next logical step to take. It's just, you're a dancer, right? You could DJ.
You're in the music industry. Hit it up.
Basically, it's like, I don't know. You listen to music. You probably have.
Do what you want to hear.
But what was impressive for Grasso even more is that he was the first one to implement a smooth transition that kept the beat flow from one song to another. So while Terry Knoll managed to do transitions from one record to another without having those awkward pauses, it was Grasso that had a better, how like DJs will start with one song and then you'll hear the beat of another, but it's seamless.
Yeah.
He was the one that started that.
Beat
and
flow
that's
is
just...
perfect.
That is actually, well, I mean, obviously Terry Knoll did a lot for DJing, but Francis Grasso did more into the art of DJing, I'd say.
We stand on the shoulders of giants.
Exactly. The history of DJing is quite interesting, but for now I'm only talking about the parts that pertain to the history of disco, so I'll just have to stop there for now. But I just wanted to showcase that disco innovated the club spaces in that way of basically ushering a new type of live performance, but also just a new type of music. Even though it is remixing and taking from other songs, it's a new type of way of making music as well.
But this is the original EDM.
In a
a
way,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like also that way. But that also stems from disco and like what disco brought out of it. So that's why it's, as much as we're all wondering where disco is, disco's always been there. And that's the moral of the story.
Well, it's always
Yeah.
been there since the Nazis.
Disco's yeah.
Discotheque is nicht a genre. It is a state of mind.
Hitler wasn't. Hitler didn't become Hitler because he couldn't paint well. Hitler became Hitler because he couldn't DJ well. That's the true moral.
When the grooves feel reich, das ist, wenn Disco ist ausgezeichnet.
So we've established the term of discotheque and how the concept turned to real clubs. But how about the music? Like I mentioned previously, the French and German discos would play a lot of 20s to 40s jazz music. Continuing on that trend in the 60s, New York black artists were getting more and more prominent in the music industry. With Motown Records, I'm showing now like some popular artists there.
Guys,
so
these slides are dope. You have to see.
Yeah,
how
as
it
with
was.
every podcast, our slides, images, videos, whatever will be featured in the description. You'll find a link to the slideshow. And yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So yeah,
Just
this is
follow
Motown.
along and click through what we are.
Exactly. I'm at slideshow
Motown right
5.
Yeah.
So we have Stevie Wonder that was there, The Temptations, Diana Ross, but it's mostly out of her group, The Supremes, and the Jackson 5 was also part of Motown Records. We also have the Philadelphia International Records. We have Sister Sledge right here, Patti LaBelle, Billy Paul, and the Tramps. And those were like very
God,
popular.
Billy Paul, I mistaken him for Rick Ross.
What the fuck are
Because
you
from
on?
my angle,
Hell
all
yeah,
I see
Rick
is
Ross.
the beard and the chiseled jaw, and I was like, okay.
Oh my God, Rick Ross in some like really 70s gear.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
would
Rick
be
Ross's
amazing.
dad.
So yeah, it's like they had the biggest roster of soul, funk, and R&B singers in the group. Like I said, notably Patti LaBelle and everybody in there. So the great appeal to these songs, as opposed to other music at the time, is that they were very progressive and transgressive as compared to what was popular at the time as well. So it was a lot of, like men singing about being great lovers, getting called in adultery, dancing better than any other guy. And
I could do disco. I love.
I knew Nick was gonna be like, yeah, this is my.
This man loves loving.
But the women would also sing, of heartbreak, but also flip it on its head, declare they didn't even need a man. They don't need no man. Yeah, basically.
I don't need no man.
They didn't need no man. They would sing about independence, and they would also do the same loving and partying as men did. So it was very, very sexual liberation in that way.
You're telling me women make love?
No, they
Yeah.
only have sex.
Oh.
Women don't make love; they have sex.
So one could even say this time was groovy.
Yes,
Perhaps.
groovalicious.
Nice.
So yeah, it was like a new sound that was a little bit on the counterculture. Well, a little bit. It was on the counterculture for the mainstream because it was like cool. It was a bit racy, and it was a little bit of it was racy. Fun fact for Billy Paul, the guy you thought was Rick Ross
I don't see it.
from Philly Records. One of his songs was banned, especially in England. England is so prudish. It's hilarious for these songs. He had a song called Me and Mrs. Jones, and it was pulled from a lot of radio station because he was singing about having an adulterous affair with the Mrs. Jones in the song. So it was very
dat?
like, ooh,
No way.
Who dat?
who dat, Mrs. Jones?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm hoping it's not a real person in real life because that would have been
this
terrible
is
for
a real
him.
groovy story.
But it's funny because the song, if you listen
Oh,
to
I
it,
reckon this is filthy.
filthy song.
This is quite filthy.
Filthy.
I don't like this.
The song is not even really glorifying.
I don't know.
That's what I find it really funny. Like it's like almost sad and soulful about being like, fuck, we're meeting up every time and we have to hide and this kind of sucks, but I love you. Like
Who
it's
the
really
fuck is
sad.
Mrs. Jones? She your teacher? What's the
Wait,
controversial
teacher?
part?
The guy's
I
like
mean,
30.
I would assume. I don't
Oh,
know.
the controversial part was the fact that he's just having an adulterous affair. That was because it was a song like.
I think
He's
it's
like
also-
bragging about adult. Like,
I think-
Not even. He's not even bragging about it. It's just more like resigned of staying in that affair because he loves her so much.
Yeah, but he has feelings, and the British fucking hate feelings.
The British were like, ew, like you feel bad about
They
this?
do.
So a lot of 70s.
This isn't good music to kick my dog to. They only like to kick dogs in Britain.
Bring back the dog kicking. No, they stab a lot in Britain, apparently.
Yeah, because they're not allowed to have guns.
That's true. See, people with guns and you're safer with guns.
Take away
than
the
with
guns,
stabby
resort
people.
to knives. Take away the knives, there's acid.
So a lot of 70s disco style would stem from the Philly soul genre, which is, like music, especially
Delicious.
from Philadelphia. Exactly. Philly soul, the best sandwich you can get.
Delicious cheese.
Delicious cheese. And from that Philly soul came Earl Young, a drummer who is credited for creating the disco sound. Earl Young was a part of the Tramps, which is, if I go back a little, right there.
Nice.
It's those
They all look
funky
like
dudes.
tramps.
the one in the back with the PJ logo.
Tramps with like 3 M's so that you know they're not whores. That's how you differentiate them. He's the creator of the 4 on the floor drum beat that disco uses, and even a lot of club music use today. Like even EDM, like Nick was talking about, use a lot.
4 on the floor is something I do on my anniversary.
Nice. Jesus. Sick.
Sick.
It's essentially the drummer hitting the bass drum on every beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and mixing in the hi-hats with it as well. So I'm just gonna, there's 2 videos I wanted to show, just one with Earl Young a bit describing it, and the other one is gonna be a drummer showing you guys like the example.
Urban nightclubs around the country, the tide was changing. Dance bands were cast aside in favor of club DJs spinning records from the genres of music which nourished
Disco,
the roots
everybody.
of disco.
I like this.
Roots of disco.
Oh, he looks groovy as fuck.
Oh, he's a groovy man.
Brian Chin.
And
Is the name Brian Chin racist?
Not if it's his name. So yeah, that's his group. He was.
Hey, I know that song.
I don't care what kind of orchestra or band you have.
Yeah.
It always starts at the
Thanks for
rhythm
that.
section. Your basic
just wondering
instrument is keyboard.
So that's Earl Young.
Drums, guitar.
You don't look so
The
young.
key guys, Norman Harris, Ronald Baker, and myself, and Leon Huff, who played keyboards. So the four
Yeah,
of us could go in
Philadelphia
the studio and
International
just cut.
record. He was
That is
very
the
much a part of
foundation,
the
bottom
Philly
of it.
sound,
And that
Earl
is the
Young.
Philly sound.
Earl Young created the disco beat.
Gloria Gaynor is a staple in disco music. If you guys are watching the video, she just showed up. She's a big staple on disco music.
When I did the
That's
Law by
the
Law,
Tramps.
disco wasn't even around. And I had an idea of to cut something that was an up-tempo beat to make people
This man's in
dance
his
with it.
20s.
And I think
And he's got
that's
the
part of
deepest
it.
voice I've ever heard in my
Disco
life.
It's really a 4/4 on your foot. Boom, boom, boom,
Boom, boom.
He's boo boo booming right there.
2/4.
That's what I kind of miss about a lot.
Oh, so
of
that's the
live
4 on the
tournaments.
floor?
Damn, dude, that
4
move
on
was
the floor.
groovy.
Pause
Yo,
it
Nick, let's
right
get that
here.
coordinated. We're pulling that shit up in the club.
By the way,
We're pulling that little like 2-step he did. Yo, we doing that.
that's the 4 on the
That's
floor.
the move.
And I'm just gonna show
Yo.
you guys just like
That's the
quickly
play.
how it sounds on the drums, on like how he switched that up.
Every single beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just like a relentless heartbeat that you hear in all the discos.
Aren't they just
and
taking
modern
this from the Native Americans?
It honestly
Dun,
stems
dun,
from a lot of different culture, because like for disco there's so much like Latin influence as well, you know, like salsa comes in, bachata, oh my god, I can't even say
I
it.
just feel
Bachata,
like-
but
Bachata.
sorry.
I feel it's hard to think that like in the 60s or whatever is the first time they've ever thought of a four time beat.
They didn't actually. So the reason why he kind of created disco in that way, he didn't he didn't create it. He didn't create like the 4 on the floor as in like, just the thing, like the drum of it. It's more like he's the first one that implemented it in soul music. You know what I mean? So like that was already a part of a bunch of different genres. It's just, he was like, you know what? Like that might sound cool like this time right now.
Okay.
And he implemented in one of the songs, which was, if I
A little
remember.
bit of smooth talking and love making. Like, that
give-
shit'll
That's
flow
it.
well. You know what I
Give
mean?
them
the
boys a
song.
rhythm to go with.
Basically, like he just wanted like a bit of an uptake there, and it worked on the songs for the one of the songs for the Tramps, and then just kind of hit it off from there. That's why. But no, like Nick said, it's like it's not something he just invented out of nowhere. It's just he was like, you know what, I could implement that in a different thing.
That
So
man
it's
created
suddenly-
the age of sex.
There
Nice.
you go.
Nothing like a white man showing us a black man's beat.
Black man's.
It makes it more digestible for the other people.
I mean, we're gonna get there as well. You guys have no idea how right you are in some ways.
Shit.
So when the 70s came around, disco sound have finally materialized into something more serious and concrete. A lot of black artists were starting to become the face of this new genre, and Earl Young, using his newfound discovery, became a notable producer for a lot of these groups. Disco is what made producers famous as well as DJs. Producers always existed, obviously, and they are key parts in making a popular song, but they never had become such absolute superstars to anyone other than the artist they were collaborating with.
Like DJ Khaled.
Basically, they were never at DJ Khaled's, never at DJ Khaled's level, yeah. But and they never will. DJ Khaled is the best. Also, he doesn't eat pussy. Just
Tell him to bring out the lobster. Tell him to bring out the lobster.
No, because God did.
God, dude.
suffering from success.
Suffering fucking
So another great example in the way that disco distinguished itself from other genres at the time as well is that they embrace new technology with their own sound, which brings us to Giorgio Moroder.
The beep boop.
Beep boops.
The beep boop
He
motherfucker.
added the robot beep boops. John heard technology and is like AI.
Beep boop. No way he's that modern, dude.
That boy.
But yes, Giorgio Moroder. Oh my God.
Moroder.
Homie looks like a fucking hitman, like a cartel hitman.
He's pretty cool.
He kind of looks like Pablo Escobar.
but with a mullet.
He is called the godfather of modern dance music. So
Like Pablo Escobar.
like Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar is also known for his musical talent.
Except he was the godfather of coca.
Cocaine.
Giorgio Moroder, also known as that Daft Punk song that everybody knows, or at least hopefully. Please listen to that song. It's a really good song. He was a broke Italian DJ, Nick's life, living in the back of his car. I'm just joking.
Like Italian DJ?
Okay, you don't have to be that fucking rude. Nick's not a DJ.
But I will shit on him for being Italian.
I'm just Italian and broke.
He got
He
super
disrespected you
popular.
with the DJ.
No. He got super popular once he started using the Moog modular. If I can show you guys what that is. It's this huge console. It's the first commercial synthesizer. It's basically like a keyboard mixed with a console that used a lot of synthesizers. And those synthesizers, fucking Jesus, put a coin every time I say synthesizers, being the action.
shot.
Yeah, take a shot, yeah. Put a coin in the jar. Put a coin.
You'll have $2.
You have $2, yeah. 3. Do you know how to count, John?
No, you're probably going to say it more after. I'm just
that's
counting
true.
up the future.
That's true. Synthesizers being the action of generating waveforms through the song and boosting or cutting frequencies in a melody in a song and everything. Sorry, just quick definition for anybody that doesn't fully know. But it does like cool sounds. That's what synthesizers do.
It makes the beep boop.
It makes the beep boops.
The beep boop bop.
It does also the
Beep, boop, boop, bop.
It beep boops. Moroder always expressed how he wanted to create a more futuristic sound, and so he would use the synthesizer quite often paired with 60s and 40s soul music. As he got more popular, he became a sought-after producer and paired up with an up-and-coming soul folk artist that would truly cement his name and cement her title as the Queen of Disco, Donna Summer. You guys do know Donna Summer, right?
I think I know Donna Summer.
You should.
Just the name.
Oh,
Cute.
oh my god!
Oh my god! Nick, congratulations!
God.
No, I
You
mean, like,
found
she
a
could still
dead
be
woman
cute, but she could still be cute. I was just like, unfortunately, she
She's
died.
still cute, dead or not.
Of course.
Very pretty.
Donna's-
I'll go back in time for her.
Oh,
Her
that's
hair is glowing.
glowing blue.
I miss disco.
That's yeah, exactly. That's the haze of disco right there following her. But yes, Donna Summer, really known as the Queen of Disco. She got inducted in the
I
rock
thought you
and
were gonna
roll.
say in debt.
She got in
That's
she
too
got
soon.
in debt because of disco. She's inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2013 posthumously.
A year after she died.
A year after she died, because that's when
It's,
people recognize.
She died alone with just a box to her name. And they're like, we love her so much.
Donna Summer was originally an actress. She was going to be in the musical Hair, which was a very funky musical at the time in the late 60s. And she ended up meeting Giorgio Moroder, and she made her biggest hit, Love to Love You Baby. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Love to love you, baby.
Yes, but not that key. Sorry.
That sounds like "Don't You Want Me."
Don't
By-
you want
That's
me,
literally what I was thinking
baby?
about.
It's her saying,
Fucking
Love to Love You Baby. Anyway.
yeah, that was completely off. You had to bring a white man song into this fucking conversation.
That's all he remembers.
what killed disco. White people singing disco back.
God damn it!
But yeah, that song is the crux of what disco in the 70s represented. You know, it had a futuristic sound from, you know, this amazing producer. It had a very cool and sensual melody. The singer had a luscious and vibrant voice that oozed confidence and sexuality. Every time she breathed on the song, it was basically in small moans. Like you could hear like small little moans.
That's how I feel when the boys talk to me.
That's how this podcast is gonna be from now on.
Like inter.
Hey, John.
Every time we talk, it's just like this. Just really gets your fucking ears flowing.
I really like your opinion.
I really like when it's smooth and luscious.
Tell me about disco.
Tell me more about Donna Summers.
No, we gotta keep going.
No. Please go on. We've got time.
All right, Priscilla.
I'm
we're-
just like Donna Summer.
all right,
Summers was an
Priscilla.
amazing artist.
Yes, she was.
All right, Priscilla, you can continue.
But Donna Summer, you know, like I'm not gonna go into it, but she did have like a pretty fraught relationship with her title of Queen of Disco. You know, like she was a church girl, so doing that, she was always a bit conflicted with her look on, you know, because disco was so not inherently, but had a lot of sexual.
It was very vulgar,
Yeah, it was vulgar, definitely at the
especially
time.
behind
yeah.
the scenes. Yeah.
It was some fucking music.
It was basically.
It was fucking music.
It was fucking music, very much so.
We're gonna fuck
It's
tonight.
fucking on the dance floor
We're
music.
gonna fuck today.
It's still fucking music. It's just now it's called
It
R&B.
is fucking music.
Now it's in straight up porn.
It is
Like,
fucking
it's-
music, but if you play it, you're weird.
Now it's called R&B.
Hey. R&B was there at the time too.
Yeah, but this one now that's what you play for fucking music. It's R&B these days.
That's
If you play disco, they're like,
they match the tempo.
match the tempo, and it's very quick.
You match the tempo.
Destroy some pelvises.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Or last less than a minute. Goes down.
I like to count out loud when I'm pumping.
Please do.
It's like
1,
CPR.
2, 3, 4. 1, 2.
Staying alive.
Staying alive.
Staying alive.
Guys, little trick from the boys if you want to do some CPR.
Oh yeah, you have to sing "Staying Alive," but
I
also
think
trick
that's
for
been
sex, I
debunked.
guess. No, I think it's true. There's a lot of paramedics that actually still recommend that, staying alive.
Yeah, and they still sing it when they're reviving it.
Exactly. So
Don't you love
me, babe. Disco is saving lives.
First of all.
Yeah, but
no.
disco is literally keeping people alive. See, they're still using it today to like
Amen.
fucking bring back people to life.
If your paramedic starts singing "Staying Alive" to you, then you know.
If you're not certified, don't give anyone CPR. Number one.
You might destroy their fucking tour, though.
Okay.
So, with the disco sound finally taking off in full effect, what was next? Well, the clubs and the culture.
The
of
fucking.
course, the fucking, yeah. Starting with the culture, it started with the aftermath of the sexual revolution.
The fucking.
The fucking, yeah. It literally never leaves the fucking. The fucking is
Charles is
there.
like in the back. No. You meant fucking.
You mean the fucking.
The fucking revolution? That doesn't sound as nice.
Wait, ma'am. You said fucking?
The fucking. So
These teens are fucking.
with the young folks who were too young back then to participate, the 70s were coming with something they could call onto their own. According to The Disco Lifestyle by Richard Powers, he mentions that the first people coming into the discotheques were trying to set themselves apart from the hippies, as they did not really relate to them, nor could they, because they were kind of too young to be a part of like the 60s revolutions. They were, like adults now in the 70s instead.
I can relate to not wanting to relate to hippies.
You dirty bunch.
Yeah,
Dirty fucking hippies.
I mean, like on the strand of that, they wanted to distinguish themselves, and that's why they would dress themselves in like the disco attire of like being more classy and stylish, because they were like, we're not gonna look like fucking hippies.
Hey man, maybe take a shower sometimes, man.
They're like, fuck,
We're
no, we're not
hippies,
gonna
but we
dress
do
like
take
hippies.
showers. We groom ourselves.
You know what's groovier than hating the government? Taking showers.
Taking showers. So even though they were like blue collared people, they could still maintain an air of sophistication when they got to the clubs right now. So basically like clubs of today, when that guy doesn't have like $20 to his name, but will still show up with a Gucci belt.
Yeah.
in like the club. You'll be like, there you go.
And
you can pretend here.
He undoes 2 buttons. You know he's ready to rumble.
How else would they know you could afford the cheapest thing at a Gucci store?
Exactly. How else could they know that you walked in the Gucci store that one time? So yeah, they didn't. More of the story, they did not want to look like hippies, and they were making sure that they could still have fun and not look like that. Sorry, hippies. Disco.
I'm not.
Even
Fucking
these
dirty
days.
hippies.
Disco. I just really like that you were doing all those Nazi jokes, and you're like, Nazis look better, and then the hippies come and you're
I
like,
didn't say
fuck
the
yeah.
Nazis look better. When did I say that? I didn't
Nazis
say
look-
any of that.
Nazis look
I
better.
made fun
Oh,
of
sorry.
hippies.
He didn't say
Nazis-
that on the podcast.
The Nazis did shower though.
That is,
And they wore Hugo Boss.
They
After
wore
the
Hugo
heroin
Boss.
flew through them.
Coco Chanel.
They showered. They made other people shower.
Oh, that's
Nice
not
one,
right.
Priscilla. Nice one.
No.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Thanks, John.
You were really cooking there.
I'm really cooking here.
So are the Nazis.
Yeah.
That was the pun.
Nice one, John.
That was the pun.
Well, there you go. You wanted it. You fucking asked for it. Fuck you. You asked for
I was
this.
doing it more subtly, but
Just showing the style, a lot of it. So a lot of like, there was like the elephant
shit, half of them
pants.
look like Lady Gaga outfits.
This looks like the Fifth Element's wardrobe.
like, doesn't this look like Lady Gaga?
This, honestly, God,
Oh,
yeah.
it seemed like something she would wear for real.
But yeah, you got like.
There's some cute outfits though.
That's the
Yo,
thing I
these
love.
are
There's a
coming
lots of
back.
Can we
nice.
These
put
are
Nick
coming
in
back.
this?
Yeah.
And then John
Yeah.
in this one?
Like the mom jeans that people say like wear
Okay, I
high waisted
agree.
jeans with like but this time instead of mom jeans it's like the baggy bottoms.
It's
that I
high
really
waisted
love.
jeans with almost nothing on top.
Yeah,
I like
basically.
Of
I like it
so we
too.
can get the naked.
But yeah, so like
Everybody
that was
likes
the style. Like you again did not want to look like hippies, so that's what they dressed in. And disco was also fashioning itself as being a modern, futuristic, and cool. So you didn't want to be a country bumpkin who was uncultured. You learned to dance. You learned to be more comfortable with sexuality and your own and others. Songs were about being free and making love. So you could
fucking.
be and fucking. Always goes back to
I
fucking.
swear I'm done. I'm done after this one.
Just every time. No. Fuck it.
The reason style was coming in really important because I don't know if you guys know Soul Train.
Fuck yes.
Used to
Soul
be
Train.
a TV. Well, it still kind of is now. I think it got canceled. It's still.
It's just a whole bunch of reruns now.
Yeah, it's a lot of reruns now because it was like from the 70s and it would be like a black music TV show where they would bring out musical guests, like either Stevie Wonder, you had the Manhattans, I think even Elton John was even there. He was like, I think the first white guy to sing on Soul Train.
I'm glad he broke ground.
He broke ground for it. And, you know, like they were
Elton John.
filmed, they were on TV, they were dancing. So, you know, like style was important. Knowing how to dance was very important because you couldn't be on that show as an audience member dancing.
Get
if you
this
didn't look
guy
good.
the fuck out of here.
You look like a bum. Fuck out of here.
Is that a fucking two-step I see? Get the fuck out of here.
So I'm not gonna show everything, but it's just like a little example of like how the show would go. So you'd have
Look at that.
I forgot the name, but like it's basically the train where like everybody's like surrounding you and you have to kind of go down the line dancing.
When the guys wearing
I
bigger
know.
heels than the woman.
When the
heels.
men wore platforms.
Yo, for
Exactly.
real.
When the men used to be men. That's what that is.
Oh, shit. Guys, you taking a shot at us because we don't wear platforms.
Yeah.
Damn,
Bring
damn,
platforms
busted.
back, then we wouldn't have all these problems as short men.
There were no
Normally
short
platform.
men's back then. They were all wearing heels. You couldn't tell.
They were all 6 inches off the ground.
Basically. So it was a lot of that, like dancing, showing off, and being very like.
that one
dancing.
was reaching. I'm not gonna lie, that last one.
Not everybody knew how to
Not
dance, but
everybody's
still.
gold. I'm sorry.
Yo, honestly, I'm a good dancer in this period.
Yeah, that's one of the
Not
things I gotta say,
all.
man.
Not
That is one of the
all.
things. The dance, like because salsa and just a lot of Latin dancing has become much more popularized.
And
Yes.
very fast.
Now it's like that's considered good dancing. Back then, it's like, man, I feel like I could get by.
You could. You still
know?
could.
Like, these people are just having a good time.
Yes, that
And
was
that's what people don't do anymore. Like, people don't want to have a good time dancing.
That seemed
They
like a time
two-step.
where creativity on the dance floor was rewarded. Mm-hmm. Where it's like now it's like you're the fucking weirdo if you do anything like that.
Yeah, now you see
You
people
do
just
any of this
recycling
at a
TikTok
club,
dances.
you're getting murdered on the spot.
But this is what I mean is like disco was there for like everybody to like be able to like be free and dance.
a proper stress relief.
Yeah.
Now the club gets a bit stressful. You gotta make sure you don't fight nobody.
Well, now you have to film yourself looking. You don't fight nobody.
I mean, different problems for everybody else.
Different
you know?
problems for everybody else.
But like everybody now is recycling TikTok dances and like there's nothing special.
John hasn't been to a club in 2 years.
That's why. That because the last time he almost fought somebody apparently.
Last time they almost killed him.
It was all
He did the lawnmower.
oh,
They
no.
almost killed him.
I actually turned on the lawnmower.
In the club.
The first one to actually turn
He's
on the
no
lawnmower. while
longer
they were
allowed
doing
in the Cabbage Patch Club.
it. I did the shopping cart, accidentally
Yeah.
groped somebody. I'm sorry.
Oh
Shit.
no.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Groping is
I
a
was just
problem
grabbing
right
the
now, yeah.
melons, bro. They were pretty low. My bad, dog.
He's trying to get some melons in your cart.
Some little melons.
Yeah.
I succeeded.
But yeah, clubs, because, you know, like everybody was looking for places to be hip, cool, and New York was popping with all these clubs. Clubs had to follow suit with the look. So they were creating big halls, crazy lights, huge dance floors, hiring the best DJs and occasional artists to play at their venues. So clubs back then were super wild. Like one of my favorite clubs that I hear all the time is Studio 54. Used to have so much famous artists there. So like you could go in, the way it would work, you had like the owner of the club that would stay out and outside, and he would let like you know just normal people in, but only if he found you hot enough, which is kind of shitty. But because it was his club, he was like, you come in, you're shirtless, you can come in, you look hot enough. You could show a bit more skin, you can come in hot enough. You're ugly, fuck out of
It
here.
just sounds like a regular LA club to me.
Maybe.
What a time to be alive.
What a time to be objectified by some random
yeah.
like guy. But you really wanted to get into that club.
Who are we looking at here, picture-wise?
So picture-wise, at the bottom left, you have
MJ.
Michael Jackson. Yeah, like young Michael Jackson, young black Michael Jackson. He in the 70s, like being at the club, you have.
That dude was good looking.
Oh yeah. completely.
It looks like his dad just walked into the room. He's just looking like that.
He was a bit like,
He's like, oh.
because this club especially like had a lot of drug, cocaine, crazy shit. Like they brought a horse in that one, kind of a fake horse in there.
Who had a sombrero?
That's Grace Jones, very known. She was a model, singer, and she's like with
She's with Andy Warhol.
Exactly. They were very close collaborators.
What the fuck was Andy Warhol doing at the club?
Oh,
He's
he was a
not
crazy
good-looking.
guy at the club too. He was always at clubs. He loves Studio 54. He was like a resident almost.
He looks like he belongs in a restaurant.
He was the coke slinger. I swear to God.
Entirely.
They're like, we don't want him here, but like he brings the good.
Well, he was, very popular, especially underground counterculture. Well, he was getting a bit mainstream, but still. But yeah, it's if you got into these clubs, you got to see those people. You got to like fucking party hard. There was always something crazy and new that would happen at the club. It was always a different experience. Almost like every week would be a different experience. And like celebrities love going there because people didn't bother them in a way. Like if you were there, you weren't allowed to start being like, can I have an autograph and everything? No. You were there to party and party only, like, and just see. So very fun. Cool atmosphere
Said that
for
one
cool
photographer.
people.
Well, I do
Yeah,
get.
sometimes he would get like for the photographers, they were paid by the club, and like, the celebrities knew about it. So you couldn't. Well, it's also at the time where nobody had like a digital camera to just start taking pictures. So,
But that makes sense for like the hand picking the people that get in.
Mm-hmm.
If it's full of celebrities, you're not gonna get some bum off the street and be like, oh, you get
Exactly.
to party with Andy Warhol.
exactly. Even though it's like exclusive and very like like objectifying, there was also the reason why.
I
in
think
a
we
way.
could get in. We dress up nicely.
Honestly, with our mixed bunch, I don't think so.
You've never heard of the Boys versus Everything? We're on everything.
versus-
We're
the
on
Boys
Spotify.
versus disco. Come on.
This is disco club
Come
culture.
on.
Clubs back then were absolutely wild, so popular they attracted celebrities all the time. And who are the people they attracted? Of course, it was the people that made it cool in the first place. If we go by Richard Powers of the Lifestyle Disco article, he would state that gays were the first, right from the beginning, when David Manusco, who was like a very big club promoter, opened The Loft, another big club in New York, closely followed by The Gallery, another big club in New York. Just a lot of clubs, New York clubs.
He was the club guy.
Club guy. After the counterculture revolution of the 60s, there was now a relatively wider acceptance of gays in the media, followed by some legal freedoms in New York City in 1971.
They could get coffee at the same place.
Exactly, without getting shot at, I guess.
And then AIDS changed that.
They could take the same line
like
of
crazy. But yeah, so like the gays were first. There was a lot of black women doing the music, so it was a lot about sexuality, and because it was more feminine, a lot of gays really loved it, and they could come in and dance and not get killed. But the second populace was actually the Latinos, largely Puerto Ricans and Cubans. They quickly joined because in that
That's
culture,
so racist, Nick. Why are you looking at me?
I
he's
just
not
really,
Puerto Rican.
I want to know your perspective on this, John.
Yeah, as a Latino, what do you think about disco?
Well, it's just fucking, you need some flavor.
Be a little bit of color.
There's only so much flavor.
A little bit of salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper
A
is
little
what.
bit of zest.
Just picturing like a John with soul patches and shit.
John in like bell bottoms
Yo.
with like open chest.
I would kill.
in there.
I would kill.
You would.
I would
kill.
get in.
You would kill.
I would.
He works out in 80s attire already.
I do.
That's true.
He's got the yoga pants.
70s John in Studio 54, where there's like everybody there. Like I think he would not come out of there
Including
alive.
a fucking horse? Is that a fucking horse?
Yeah, it's a horse.
It's a fake horse, but yes.
Still.
Is it actually fake?
Yeah, it's fake. It's.
I think somebody would.
It's like a
just
taxidermy.
Took a line of coke, just said, "Let's go party with a fucking horse."
Get a fucking.
Some nights people got trampled by horses.
Yeah, I mean that was the harsh life
Over
of
the
the
times.
Studio 54
I
club.
didn't know BoJack Horseman showed up.
Depressing everybody. But yeah, like
His
the
party days. His party days.
party days when he was also a white horse.
What is a white horse?
Yeah, the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans, they quickly joined the party with their couple dance traditions of Latinized 1950s rock and roll swing. American pop culture had mostly given up on partnered touch dancing in 1960s, you know, just like couple dancing, like more
Wow, they're
like
that
tradition. Yep, that's what happens. The American got so prude, it was lame. When the twist changed the dynamic of social dancing. But Hispanic dancers in New York had never started partner dancing, partially because...
Twist?
The twist. The twist.
The
Do
twist was like the fucking monolith for white people.
Very much so. They were like, oh my God, you can swing your hips.
It's very much in Nick's repertoire.
You say we don't have culture. This is our culture.
This is our goal. This is the twist.
You know, Nick, you're Italian. You can stay. You can sit this
That's
one
true.
out.
You
don't
actually have
to say
culture.
anything.
You actually have culture.
Yeah, you don't have to say anything. You made yourself a part of that fight.
But Hispanic dancers in New York had never start partnered dancing, partially because it was considered masculine for Latino men to dance and had been for generations. So for them, partnered couple dancing was always preferred over solo dancing. So yeah, they loved it because they were like, fuck it. Like the other clubs were basically two-stepping. We don't want to fucking do that. Let's go to disco. Disco's like doing some wild shit. Let's go.
I think people get very uncomfortable when you don't know how to couple dance. Like, I'm not that good at it.
It gets uncomfy pretty quick. I
Yeah,
do have to
especially
admit.
like a stranger, like that's like, oh, you're not doing the things I expect you to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty fucking awkward.
That's why they do it's like almost like a 3 minute and then switch type thing.
That's where the two-step comes in. It's like shuffling on the foot and then like, okay, well,
All right, well, you know, I'm just gonna turn around a little bit. All right, please.
because you can't bust out like
See
even
ya.
if you are a professional like dancer, you can't bust out those dance moves in the club because then everybody's like, oh my God, this fucking guy's trying to like, I don't know.
Yeah, or he's like, oh, he's trying to take all my bitches.
Exactly.
Oh, people do bust those moves out.
Oh, do they?
oh,
I haven't
yeah.
been in a club in a little bit, so I can't.
Or some
really
people that go
speak.
there just to show off, like just to really like get the juices flowing.
The juice
I
is
mean, if
flowing,
you're
yeah.
if you're a good dancer, dancing to get chicks is the move.
That is true. But I feel like you go to more like salsa clubs and stuff like that, no? Like more like where.
But
like,
then you go to
dancing
salsa
really
clubs, you
nice.
see
It's
more
like-
old ladies than anything else.
Again, John has not been to the club.
Yeah,
In 2
I was
years.
about
John
to
has
say.
no idea what he's talking about.
But yeah, so yeah, like the third populace that was already there were black folks, obviously. The music was based on their music. So like, you know, jazz, but also soul, more specifically, definitely in the 70s that we're starting to get that four on the floor beat that Earl Young brought in. So that was starting to be becoming more disco. People were being known. There was also a lot of sounds that were imported from Africa. The Soul Makossa single by Manu Dibango, which charged the Manhattan disco scene with new energy. It was stunningly unlike anything else at the time. Repetitious motif with no melody line or story in the lyrics. It was just steady dance beat. So soon this new sound was filled with a larger Philly style, like I've talked about, orchestral version, funky rhythm, and next generation with Motown sound. All of were primarily African American combined together. This became the definitive sound of the disco era. But yeah, so like 70s full swing, everything's going cool. Like the clubs are popping. Like I almost said the economy, but it's not that big.
Everybody's pop locking.
They're not Taylor Swift. We're not Taylor Swift yet, but like, you know, it was popping, it was getting like really popular. It was still counterculture, but now it's getting slightly mainstream enough where people knew of the name and knew that it was counterculture and knew that it was cool.
Because the people got older, so now they're the ones like the one with the kids tell them, "Yo, it's hip."
They're like, "Hey, it's hip, hip, hip." So what did happen? So 70 full swing, disco's getting hotter than ever, but it's not yet at its fever pitch. That's where the blockbuster mega hit came in that really shocked the white people's socks off.
I remember seeing this movie as a kid.
Saturday Night Fever. Even if you guys haven't seen it, you definitely know this movie. At least know like the iconography of it.
Yeah.
Unless you're born in 2006 and above.
Honestly, no. I think even then you know.
You've seen the fucking shot of somebody's feet walking down the street,
And like John Travolta
playing
was
"Staying
fucking
Alive."
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
having a little kick in his step.
walking with a fucking paint bucket.
So yes, it's an iconic movie showcasing the lead role debut of John Travolta as
Correction, that was Carrie.
Carrie was his lead?
Carrie was his debut.
Oh shit, I thought
The trailers for Carrie even show like introducing John Travolta.
but he wasn't the lead.
He wasn't the lead.
Yeah.
But
this
it was
one, he's
his
the lead.
debut.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what I meant by lead role debut. That's why it's
Okay.
like him as a lead role.
Okay.
Wow, John.
John's on some
John
thing
doesn't.
today.
I
John
thought
never
you knew
listens to me.
cinema.
He's on some shit.
I did. It
today.
just you never hear lead role debut. That's not a thing.
Patronizing me on my own fucking episode.
I'm
Look at
saying.
this fucker. But yes, okay, you're right. It's not properly said, but as in him being in the lead role.
Yes.
That's his new one.
We'll cut this part.
All right.
But yes, him being in the lead role, John Travolta, and music by the Bee Gees, which was a disco group. Very. When you hear
Pronounced Beegies.
the Bee Gees, it's pronounced the Bee Gees.
The Beegies.
The Bee Gees, Nile Rodgers always said, who is also a big disco producer, he was part of a popular group, a disco group called Chic. Really good
Chic?
group. Chic. Le Freak.
Oh, I know Chic.
Le Freak. The song is called Le Freak. You guys might know this song.
They got a lot
Good
of
song.
ones.
They got a
of
lot,
good shit.
lot.
The freak I'd be called.
They're fucking awesome.
They're very
Love
cool. But yes, Nile Rodgers and a lot of other producers were always like, yeah, they were definitely trying to make a more whitened version of disco for a lot. And even though I do like the Bee Gees, I have to agree this was very much made to be like, hey, white people, come get into this
It's
new
okay.
cool trend.
It's not scary. You can like disco too.
You can like disco too. You can still be very macho and love disco.
Would
Like
you
a
say it's
good
like
white
the
man.
Macklemore of disco?
Honestly, yeah. As in, like, I still don't even mind it, but definitely whitened.
Actually, not a bad reference.
That's
There you
not. That's a really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's like
Very
the thrift
good
store.
comparison.
The thrift store
I've been
of
writing
disco.
it all week.
So yeah, he was John Travolta plays an Italian American Nick working. I love just saying anything Italian.
Nick is not Italian American.
He's Italian though,
He's
so
fully
that's half. Actually, that's full. Yeah,
You're
full
born in
Italian
Italy, right?
Canadian. bro.
I'm Italian, Swiss, Canadian. I'm born with all three passports, baby.
Hey.
Were you born in Italy?
Italy, yeah.
He's not Nick. John Travolta.
Nick working in the disco fever.
I'm working in disco, having a hard time.
Exactly. You're a working boy by day, but disco king by night. That's what Saturday Night Fever is. This movie really blew up and got like a lot of those like white picket fence white folks being like, "Oh, disco, I can do that." I'm like,
Sounds like something we could get into.
They put down their
We can
picket
get
fences
into
to
it.
start boogieing.
so yeah, like in other words, disco got whitewashed quite quickly and capitalized on really quickly. Just about like any genre of music will start doing that. But disco, like it was immediate. They were like, we can do money in this. So
I feel like that's the start of like people say it's the downfall of every music genre, but it's when all the money gets into it.
that's also true. Yeah. It's when like music that was always very counterculture specifically start gaining mainstream, the downfall is always close to there because it kind of just comes in so quickly, comes in hard and fast, pardon my euphemism.
Like when punk
Fucking.
became mainstream, like what modern punk music is there?
There is some, but just obviously not
It's
as
not.
big as, yeah. But yeah, everyone, and I
was
mean-
thinking of a band. I couldn't come up with shit.
Oh,
I really can't.
Machine Gun Kelly.
oh,
No,
yeah,
No, that's not punk.
yeah, that's true.
That's not punk.
John is adamant like that's not punk. But I will say, yeah, like you know,
saying things are punk, not punk is not punk. Gatekeeping punk is not punk.
gatekeeping punks.
Whatever.
Says the gatekeeper. He's like, no,
I'm
I
a
will
gatekeep
gate.
punk.
He was like, I'm a gatekeeper. But yeah, everyone, and I do mean everyone, wanted to get into disco. There's like two examples I'm going to showcase, but one that I find funny is Wild Cherry. I don't know if you guys know the song "Play That Funky Music, White Boy."
Oh yeah.
And just the lyric,
Cringiest fucking song.
just the beginning.
We're gonna get copywritten for that.
Yeah. Just having the
inaccurate.
beginning lyrics being like, hey, once I was a boogie singer playing in a rock and roll band. I had no problems burning one night stands, and everything around me got starting feeling so low. Decided quickly, yes, I did, to disco down and check out the show. Basically admitting, I know, but he's basically
Fucking
admitting
rhymes are trash. Get the fuck off the airwaves.
he's basically saying, oh man, I was in a rock and roll band, but rock and roll wasn't doing that good. Now disco's the thing, and now I'm switching to disco. Like admitting in the song that he's only doing this.
That
And
is-
it is their one-hit wonder.
He's making it
Yeah.
for money.
It's their only famous song, which is disco, like a disco.
How do you
like a
feel
party
as an
disco.
artist when the one time you caved into a trend was the only time you were successful?
That must
Oh
suck.
my god.
That must suck. That
Bow, bow,
must
bam, 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 bam.
That's depression right there.
Go ahead, buddy.
That's our new wah wah.
You
but
die,
for
and
disco.
you die and go to hell, and Satan's just looking at you. Go ahead. Play that funky
Fucking
music, white boy.
Another example I wanted to showcase of like blatant trying to hop on the bandwagon
Oh, no.
is
I get the sense now it's going to be a lot of cringe.
yeah, Rig D's and the Cast of Idiots, which I feel speaks for itself. That title. He decided to do like a disco song as like a novelty disco song with a duck. So here you go.
Bro, as
Listen,
soon as white people get into shit, they just ruin it slowly but surely.
listen to this. I won't play.
friendly
it's
fire,
like
but-
2:30, but like I still won't play all of it. But
What the fuck?
I mean, the ladies in this video can hop on my trend.
nice.
All right, I've heard enough.
Oh my god, the voice too.
Just gonna skip real quick.
It's
just
like trying to
show
be
you.
sexy, but like low key predatory.
Oh, what the fuck? There's a duck in the video.
If you guys skip to 119, there's a man.
Oh, this is fucking painful.
So yeah,
Oh my god.
I mean, this is not where disco died, but this is where disco died for
This
me.
is the fucking. That is the catalyst.
If you guys are just watching but not listening to the video, like
Jesus
watching the video,
Christ. This is what stops them from committing genocides, by the way.
by the way, the duck was a black man. Anyway,
Oh my. Only a black
This-
man in the video.
This has been disco for me the whole time. This is all I know.
All I knew was the quack quack.
so yeah.
He went from the coke to the quack quack.
Oh God, we started the quacks again. But yeah, many artists, comedians, radio hosts, whole lot of hoopla, random ass people were trying to put their grubby little hands on disco.
That's crazy.
Some were making mixed-shape disco bands, that is a wild thing that I kind of knew already, and I didn't know how bad it went. On the slides that I put up on 22, I put Boney M. If you guys know the Rasputin song, remember?
I love that song.
Rasputin.
Fucking gold. One of the best fucking songs of all time.
Just to tell you guys, this was a makeshift band. So these three ladies were from the soul era, and they got kind of brought in. They got hired as backup singers and dancers. And the main guy who's singing, he's not actually singing. This man underneath here, Frank Farian, he hired this guy because he looked the part.
Ghost singer?
Yes. He's the one that voices himself
shit.
under like
Oh, damn.
he lip syncs, and he's like a German guy, by the way. He doesn't speak much English at all.
They infiltrated the disco.
It was a Russian man.
He was
And then he comes out and is like, yeah, how are you?
literally
Yeah, I am the singer Boney M. Yeah.
basically that, because he couldn't speak a lick of like English. His name was
Oh my god.
got it.
Like English.
I like English.
A lick of English. His name was Billy something, but he couldn't speak English, but he looked the part, which is a black guy.
Fucking hilarious.
A black guy that could dance. So he was like, fuck it, I'm making a disco band because disco's popping up, calling them Boney M, and I'm gonna put my voice. He doesn't sing really, but it's a lot of like talking points in Rasputin. So the ladies though, that's
the
their
ladies
voices.
are the ladies are the backing force of the song.
Basically.
His part is fine. but it's not what makes the song. They make the song.
They do
Yeah.
make the song, but he was their
But he
producer.
made the money.
created the
and
whole
that
thing.
beat is hard.
That beat is really
That
hard.
beat goes fuck.
That's why it's like, even though I know how makeshift it is, I still like the band. They have 2 other songs I love, Daddy Cool and Ma Baker. And the reason I put Milli Vanilli next to it is
they
that
also did that.
Yes.
Or is it the same guy too?
exactly.
That's hilarious.
So Milli Vanilli was a band in the 90s that, like they had a popular song. I forgot what it was called, but they got Grammys for it until it was found out that it wasn't their voice. They were lip syncing the entire time. And they didn't even really write their songs either. And it's from the same guy that did the same thing with Boney M. I thought that was wild. I
That
just
is
thought that
actually
was
wild.
fucking
Pretty cool.
hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
Because I knew about Milli Vanilli and I knew about Boney M, but I assumed they was separate. And then I searched this guy up and I'm like, this motherfucker did this twice.
The guy just buys actors and just says, "Nice, you got this."
It was ridiculous. But
I
yeah,
mean, they do the same shit nowadays, but the people on the cover actually sing.
that's
Yeah.
true. That's
For
the
all
thing.
we know, this guy could also be Kanye West.
I hope to God that would be so fucking funny.
I'm a god. I made disco.
But
I mean, then those claims would be valid.
But yeah, it's everybody was getting into disco. Everybody was trying to capitalize. Like Ringo Starr was trying to do this. The Carpenters were also trying to put themselves. Ringo Starr was definitely kind of embarrassing. You guys was checking.
on down and groove with me, man.
So people who were definitely not equipped with the more, like loose sexual aspect of disco, like singers that were normally
least
clean
sexy
cut.
singers.
Basically, the least sexy people were now
Devoid
getting
of
into
sexuality.
disco.
Just fucking Ringo Starr.
Ringo Starr were trying anything. This man needed to prove
Anything to make him fuckable.
neither the style or the dance they had down. So they were trying hard, but they had to cosplay disco to make a quick buck and make terrible novelty songs. So again, as much as I love disco, love a lot of 70s music, there's a lot of turds. Like a ridiculous amount of turds.
That's
Bum, bum,
anything
bam,
that
bam.
gets big enough has a lot of like shit posting, pretty much.
Shit posting. I
Yeah.
love that. Musical shit posting.
Musical shit posting.
So obviously disco became quickly oversaturated by the normies and honestly was starting to get a bit lame.
Damn.
Damn,
So
damn,
during
damn.
this time, like the black influence of disco was kind of dissipating as well.
It wasn't dissipating because, Donna Summer was still a pretty big name, not exactly Aretha Franklin, but like Patti LaBelle was in. Like they were still there, but they were
Diluted.
Yeah, like
Yeah, if
they
I was
were
the queen, I'd have some of these people executed.
like she was definitely like the biggest name for it, but when you have somebody like like the Carpenters or like other like popular singers like that were already in the limelight, being white, now starting disco, obviously they were starting to get a bit more money in that regard too, because they were just more recognized as well. So it's not like the black folks were being dissipated, but it was definitely being too overcrowded, and people who were already popular and already had the capital had the money to kind of stuff it down just a little bit in a way. But no, they didn't leave overnight. Like they were still so much of the lifeblood of it. They were still there.
I feel like the CIA had something to do with this. Yes. I feel like maybe they sensed that the counterculture movement was shifting a little more towards like disco and stuff like that. Maybe they were just a little more worried about that and probably did something to kill it. Just like they did. Just like they did the hippies.
The crack epidemic, the
Oh,
disco.
Steve Dahl.
Nah,
was the
but come
one
on.
that was,
How
the
believable.
CIA
They just
operative.
industry plants, man. That Duck song. How does that get approved?
No,
The
that's-
Duck song?
That Duck song.
That was written by the CIA.
That
Can I
Duck
just-
song is 100% psyop.
That's
Can
a
I-
fucking psyop.
Can I just tell you guys, it was number one too.
That's a fucking psyop.
That's
That's bullshit.
It was number one
That's some
during its
Bobby
year.
All
Like,
top
look
shit.
what you guys
That's
are
not-
listening to.
That's not right.
Look what you guys are listening to.
People hated it, but it was still number one though.
That's bullshit. Play that funky music, white boy. Like, nah.
So meanwhile,
Not buying
while disco was like getting to like fever pitch and everything, a growing music genre was making a comeback in the most aggressive way in the late 70s. Can y'all guess what it is?
Rock and roll, baby.
Is it merengue? We have the slide that says rock in front of us, so it's hard to guess.
I know, I fucked up that one. But yes, it
I
is.
just tried
It's
to give
rock.
some fake
But it's
guesses.
the 70s. Everybody knows. what
Is it
comes after
Japanese taiko drum music?
Oh, that'd be great.
70s. Is it K-pop? K-pop?
It's like K-pop. K-pop's finally making its comeback.
K-pop entered the conversation.
Is it Lithuanian folk music?
Is it
Russian
throat singing?
Russian EDM.
Yeah,
throat singing.
it's rock. It's rock.
Oh, okay.
Guys, don't you know rock exists? I know it's like super
shit.
small and nobody knows.
Such an obscure genre.
Super
gotta-
like
Wouldn't have
AC/DC.
expected.
who
We gotta get
that?
more culture.
Wouldn't have expected.
While during the beginning of the 70s, rock was having kind of a real bad time staying on the radio. They were getting replaced by DJs and disco, obviously. Well, like DJs doing disco. It was coming to kick out. Rock was coming to kick out disco with a fury, and it's all thanks to this man, Steve Dow.
Well, they should have known. Rock never dies.
Rock never dies, but fuck rock. I'm kidding. Steve was a rock DJ for a rock station in Chicago, Illinois in the late 70s. The station switched to disco and little Stevie was out of a job. So he had to make it everybody's problem. And I'm calling him Little Stevie because I don't really like this man. He started to lead this anti-disco brigade, which took over Illinois for a little bit. He's from there, leading multiple riots everywhere, like little riots.
Riots for rock?
Yes. Yes.
People did not have shit to do back then. Huh?
You know why? So, because he would use like his platform, like because he got kicked out, he got into another rock station, and he came with like that fury of being like, "Oh, I got kicked. Like my rock station got me fired because now they're a fucking disco." And he was like basically yelling that disco was for effeminate men and like frigid women.
Oh,
The
shit.
the funniest thing I heard is him being like, "Well, we used to be able to just like have jeans and like t-shirts, but now we have to like dress up and shit." And I'm like, "Oh,
These fucking snowflakes, man.
basically,
Yeah, it sounds just like that. What the fuck?
that's exactly what it is." And
Man.
he's like whining about that, and I was like, "Oh, you mean like your girlfriend doesn't want to hang out with a dude that doesn't dress well, like when they try to go out?" Like, yeah, okay, I
He's
guess
too
that's what it
fat
is.
for the fucking jeans.
But yes, so he was lamenting. He was basically having the whole rhetoric: men can't be men anymore. They have to like.
So who
dance.
the fuck rioted over? How does that happen?
Oh, Illinois 70s.
Where were the watchmen?
The fucking Sims were rioting.
Illinois 70s. It wasn't hard to get a group of young white guys to be angry about effeminate, quote unquote, effeminate men and like, black people music.
That's
So
where
it
the
wasn't-
psyop started, Joe.
wasn't too hard. So when I say little riots, as in like they would go to if there was like disco artists, maybe a slightly less known, coming in to Illinois and trying to do like a concert there or like a pop-up, like they would kind of storm in, like they'd break disco vinyls, like they'd yell they hate disco and everything, like, and then like they break shit around. That's what I mean by like little riots everywhere. And he was always in the forefront, or he's basically like the Warriors doing it through radio stations being like, go there
Warriors come out
and then play. Yeah, basically.
Oh, nice.
So that's his fucking stick. And that's why it's like I already have a gripe.
Is that a picture of him, by the way?
Yes, that's him.
What a fucking nerd.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was
Visible nerd.
visible rock. Like
What a
that's what I
fucking
called.
turd.
I called him some fucking rock nerd.
He looks like the guy who shot John Lennon.
Yo, actually,
He's got a face for radio.
exactly.
Fuck yeah.
He's got a face for
What a
radio.
knob.
the original catcher in the rye.
It all culminated at a White Sox game at Comiskey Park, where as a promotional stunt, because he was kind of like the radio DJ for them there, he convinced the guys that own that stadium to do a burning of the disco vinyls during the break. So basically disco demolition night. Like what this event that happened, like that he basically started, would be now coined as disco demolition night.
So he's like the Hitler.
Jesus Christ.
The Hitler freaking disco.
You gotta stop doing that.
He's like he wants to
gotta
burn the
stop.
books. He wants to burn the books. Instead, he wants to burn the vinyls.
We will burn these discotheques. No one shall groove anymore.
I mean, you're not fully wrong with how like it was perceived at the time as
Same
well.
comparison.
Sorry, John. He's
Jesus
a little.
John will
honest.
just take any opportunity to shut down what I'm saying.
Fuck. When it's about comparing things to Hitler.
Yeah, like I'm
But
not gonna
it's
say
close.
he's Hitler, but you know what I mean.
All right, whatever.
The promotion was this: you had to show up with a disco record to burn, and your ticket would only be 98 cents to get into that baseball game.
Fuck. But how
You-
much were
you
the
did-
disco records?
Disco was probably more than that, like maybe $5.
So wouldn't you just be funding disco by having people buy disco records unless they were bringing their old disco records and destroying them?
Well, I
But
mean,
what
like-
if somebody bought a disco record so that their ticket would be cheaper?
Yeah,
I'm sure
Then
That's
you'd
what
be
they did.
helping. Yeah.
yeah, that's what they did. Completely, that's what
Nice.
they did. So they still put in money, but they were still gonna go
Morons.
and borrow.
Now they pay $60 just to like do anything.
It worked, but it went pretty bad fast. Over 50,000 people, notably young white guys, stormed the stadium at some point because I think the White Sox were kind of losing. And like at some point they were just like, fuck it, we'll just start the burning now. This shit sucks. They stormed the stadium, and with just about any type of record, like they would just kind of throw it in the middle of it. I'm just going to show you guys a video. It's low res, obviously, but
like
a minute.
Largest crowd of the season. Oh, little do you know.
So they're
Oh,
starting, chanting,
Zion.
starting.
I didn't
People are coming
realize
up.
that disco in baseball.
This fucking guy right here.
Oh, nice.
He came in. Steve Dahl came in dressed as like an army fucking general, and just started detonating like the vinyl, like detonating in a stadium, like those vinyls. People come in, storming in, just like with their records or just kind of fucking around, and they're burning. That's how that looks.
This is what people did before the internet to have fun.
Oh yeah.
Now it's over the internet. Those
Was there
types
like
of-
a particular reason? Like, were they mistreating rock and roll, or were they just like taking all
He
the
lost
radio
his
space?
job to fucking rock to disco, basically.
They
That's
took
not
my
a-
Yeah, but like
job.
for
That's what that
everybody
is.
for
the
everybody to gang
lesson
up
of the
on it?
story is never take a white man's job.
Oh shit!
That's what it is.
Never be the reason he got laid off.
Exactly.
But it's like it's only one guy that got laid off from that. Like, what made everybody else want to show up?
It
and
was
do
a guy with a microphone.
Basically.
like the guy with the fucking
Yeah.
the intercom just starting a war.
The
Notice
whole
the last guy with a microphone did some really fucked up things in Germany.
He kind
Who is that, John?
this dude has the same hairline as like a young Donald Trump too.
He's Donald Trump. He's Hitler. He's everybody.
He's got the toupee. Like,
But like exactly, it's just like you for you. You're just being like, really? It's like just one guy that got fired, and like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is that? So
Yeah,
that's
it's like
what
a
Steve
public
Dahl. Steve Dahl, because he's still alive. He has a podcast, obviously.
Oh, nice.
Steve Dahl is like adamant to be like, no, this was not like anything like racist or homophobic. We were just like pissing on like a music genre. But you hear from Vince Lawrence, who was like at the ticket booth, like in Comiskey Park at that time, a black guy, just to like, because it pertains to the story he's gonna say. The Guardian wrote, Lawrence realized something wasn't right. People weren't just turning up with disco records, but anything made by a black artist. I said to my boss, hey, a lot of these records they're bringing aren't even disco. They're R&B, they're funk. Should I make them go home and get a real disco record? He said, no, if they bought a record, take it. They got a ticket. So yeah, a lot of racial shit was going on because they were just associating disco with anything that was like black.
If it's black, it's disco.
If it's black, it's disco, it's going. They even mentioned it's like Niles Rogers again. He's like, it felt to us like a Nazi book burning type of thing.
Oh my
there
god.
we go.
Oh shit, my bad.
If it's got soul, it's gotta go.
Exactly. Because it said
Takes
we
all the
continue.
opportunities, and the boy is right.
He is Hitler. Steve Hitler doll.
The Hitler of music.
The
Hitler of disco.
The Hitler of disco. Please stop.
Lawrence continues. Things turned uglier after Dell's demolition took place, and the crowd estimated, like the crowd that actually stormed the stadium was more like 5,000, rushed the field, unable to cope with the surge of people and ushers that were told to go home and that the police would have to deal with what was degenerating into a riot. Wow. Someone walked up to me and said, "Hey, you, disco sucks," and snapped the 12-inch in half in my face. 12-inch, which is the vinyl.
Oh, I thought you meant like a sub.
Yeah, me too. And I was like, the fuck? And a sub?
You went to the subway, just bent the sub over.
Oh my
his
god!
knee.
I thought you were gonna say a gun.
They're made to be broken in half, but still.
6 foot.
I was just being
12-inch.
stupid. I know what a 12-inch is.
He goes to Subway. He's just like, "Don't cut my sandwich."
Don't cut my sandwich.
I'm
I'll snap
protesting.
it.
My god.
Lawrence says that's when I started feeling like, okay, they're just targeting me because I'm black.
That's fucking crazy.
I've got a Loop t-shirt on. What's the difference between me and the next usher trying to get to the back of his locker, to get back to his locker? I was one of the very few of African American people in the stadium. Steve Dahl said it wasn't discriminatory. He was an equal opportunities offenders or whatever. But Steve didn't invite no brothers to Comiskey Park, which, yeah, like if you check the park, it's all that looks is like just a bunch of white guys bringing any type of record by any black artist.
In
burning
fairness,
that
baseball is like the whitest sport.
That is
ever.
true. In fairness,
No
black
man's
person was
going
there because they're like,
to a
nah.
baseball game unless his son is playing.
I gotta show up. They're there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, like Cubans were pretty big.
Yeah.
Latin Americans love baseball.
Oh, yeah.
That's because they were fucking great runners.
It's cutting it close. It's cutting it close, John boy.
We're keeping that in so you guys know the Portugal are still racist.
What the fuck?
Portuguese
It's
are
true.
still racist.
But
It's fucking true.
another
Man, get a fucking hobby.
completely.
Fucking get a hobby. I mean, maybe the game is so boring because it's baseball. One of the most boring fucking sports.
You know
ever.
what? Baseball is fun to play. Yeah.
Boring to fucking
Boring to watch. Fun
Why do
to
you
play,
think the
boring to watch.
stadiums are empty now? It's 'cause they're all on Call of Duty saying the same shit they were saying back then.
Bro, the stadiums in Korea though, packed.
Yo, Japan too.
Oh, yeah, they love that.
Japan too. They're fucking full.
They love it.
They got some crazy shows there too.
Nice. We gotta go to Japan.
Just
And
to watch
storm.
baseball. Just to watch baseball.
Well, you gotta
Storm
wonder
the
what
base.
kind of records are they burning in Japan? I mean, wait,
Come
you said
on.
Korea or Japan?
He said
Oh, my bad,
Korea,
Korea.
I said Japan.
Sorry. Okay, I got mixed up.
I was gonna say as a joke they're both the same thing, but no.
Guys, we have got no. He's about to take the microphone. We have tallied enough Asian jokes in these
In
last
one
6
part.
episodes.
I've been getting-
I was actually happy. We were going in a different direction today. No, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna defend the Asians day. Honestly,
For once.
Priscilla, shame on you.
On me.
Assuming the white guy's gonna
really?
say something bad about
Thank
the
you,
Asians.
Nick.
At least I admitted mine was a joke. You guys did it like full straight up, like, yeah, no.
We're bad people.
Just informing the crowd.
Everybody gets hurt here. That's the rule of the show.
Good. Even with the racist takes.
Everybody gets hurt.
If I'm going on good faith, Steve Dahl being like, no, I was just pissed, because my job and blah, blah, blah.
Nah, it's bullshit.
It's-
I'm sorry.
it's
It's one of those
bullshit.
like, oh, they don't understand. I was just being ironic. Like, fuck off.
The worst one I hate is I was just being young and dumb, but I'm like, you did it for multiple years,
That's the thing. Like, this was not like a one, like, it was like a whole, it was a year, this entire year he was doing that, because that was
Yeah.
in 79, like, late.
I'm
late,
kind of
late.
glad because you know what has actually died pretty much?
What?
Just the time of death hasn't been pronounced. Rock music.
Oh, that's true.
Rock music fucking sucks.
I
now.
know, I was so happy
Rock
because
music
of
has
this.
taken such a fucking backseat.
That's what made me laugh. I
Fucking hip
love
hop
that.
is like all the way to the top right now.
I just feel like
we're
we
going on
heard-
3 decades of hip hop.
We heard all the good songs of rock, and then like we heard it. So
Everything
many
that's
times,
been
it was
written has been
crammed down
written,
our
dude.
throats.
Like,
Yeah. Well, because rock is also like very simple in its structure as well.
Did you ever hear
so,
Greta
like,
Van Fleet?
Oh man,
The band that was just like, oh, they sound like Led Zeppelin.
because they did Led Zeppelin.
They just did Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, he says that, it's not homophobic, it's not racist. And I'm like, I don't care. Not only it looks like it, people perceived it that way. It's not even, because he says like, oh, it's through a modern lens. And I'm like, even at that time, people were like, this is like
This is taking a
doesn't
step back.
this doesn't look good. But yeah, but as much as I hate the guy, he is not the sole reason for disco being unpopular, like overnight type of thing. Because, like 2 years after, like Donna Summer still had like hits. You know what I mean? Like the disco was still going, but it was definitely petering out. Disco was just destined to fail. It was oversaturated. It was everywhere. Record labels were profiting off of it, but they wanted it to crash as well so they could do rock again. People who did live music hated disco because they thought it was killing their careers, because people just were trying to get disco artists. So for live musicians, they're like, oh, fuck, like I can't get my gigs at clubs anymore, really. So, what was thought of, like, it's not concrete that that's what was happening, but it was definitely perceived that way as, disco artists were being more popular at the time as well. So others were just, racist and homophobic, so disco for them was never gonna interest them as well, and sexism as well, because it was very sexualized. Big
Well,
one.
to know in rock, Jimi Hendrix is going to become a fucking massive.
That's true, but that's the thing, pick
you're
and
late.
choose.
What?
Jimi Hendrix is dead by this point.
No,
Right.
but
79, yeah.
Yeah,
79 is dead.
he's dead as fuck.
He's dead. Oh yeah, he died young.
He died at
I
27. He's
forget.
the 27 club.
I forget.
Yeah.
He died young. Oh man. Because every time I'm like, wait, 79, he should have. I'm like, oh yeah, he should have. He should have, but he's
Like,
dead.
while this is all going on, rock music is like they are playing side by side on different radio stations.
That's the thing. It's like
there
all
is the
this
whole
hoopla
rock
for
era.
like the rock is still there. It's just disco was overtaking it because
Yeah,
it was
not
like so
gone.
much. But yeah, it's like but yeah, it's just like
I feel like wasn't Zeppelin's album that out in the 70s too? Like what
that's what I mean. It's like I don't know what they were because he was literally saying like rock was being threatened as a species. Like he said that. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You had AC/DC, you had Led Zeppelin, shit was still popping for you guys.
The
Like, stop
Beatles
whining.
is dead and gone at this point.
They were
but
separated.
Zeppelin was there, Sabbath was there,
That's the thing. I'm
Aerosmith,
so confused. But
like,
that's why it's like
Punk
it was
was
racist.
fucking coming up, like
It was
the
racist.
Clash, like
It was just racist, and
It was a ton of
homophobia.
shit.
That's all that was, because rock was still doing well. It just wasn't mainstream, but it was doing super well.
Yeah.
Like it was making money. I think the big one for a lot of people who were disco fans as well, for them, it had started to become too fake and too tacky. As in, it wasn't the cool counterculture thing. It was now so mainstream
Yeah.
that like your fucking grandma was doing it. It was a joke. It was starting to become a joke.
it's becoming corporate.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Disco was just simply too big to be contained. So it had to go. But disco did not completely disappear. I think especially nowadays, disco has made a bit of a small comeback. With a lot of female artists, I'd say like more primordially. There's Dua Lipa that I like. There's Jessie Ware that uses a lot of disco vibes and everything. Like disco is still there. It's also like in club music. It's morphed into a lot of things. It's just not its like pure form again, but it's still there. You guys definitely still hear a lot of it too.
You do hear the influences like crazy.
Especially in pop music.
The Dua Lipa song that's in Barbie
Yeah,
has a very disco vibe. Even
Dance
as a disco,
the Night? Yeah.
even has a disco number to it.
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
it's still there. It's a bit more pastiche when people do like more clearer references to it. Like it's
Yeah.
a bit more in the pastiche
does.
sense, but it's it's still there. People remember it. I'd say the bigger ones are just like the '90s keeping disco alive with the house music. House music is heavily
Oh yeah.
disco influenced. It's so heavily disco influenced that like a lot of the singers are people from disco and that you wouldn't even know about it. Like for Funky Town, Lips Inc. When you look at the music video,
I can't listen to that song anymore.
Why? What happened?
I've seen a very disturbing video on Reddit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I think you've
out there.
yeah.
If you know, you know. It's the If you know, you know.
If you know,
I
you know.
just can't listen to that song anymore. If I'm listening to that song, I will see red every time I blink.
I'm not gonna show you this. I'm not gonna put the song on.
Please
Do
don't
not
play
worry.
it. I have PTSD now.
But if you look at the music video, it's like a group of like white women singing
Okay.
in the song. But it's not them that's singing it. It's another lip sync thing where it's like actually like a black female artist that sings it. And her name is Giovanna Bersola. That's her right here.
Nice.
That's Giovanna
So
Bersola.
reverse of what that other guy was doing with Boney M.
Exactly. And
Nice.
it's
Take the power back.
take the power back, but still not showing them.
Well, I don't know. Was it right when the white guy did it?
No, obviously not. But it's also not right now because she's just like kind of like the ghost singer, I guess, instead of ghostwriter.
I mean, she's ghost singing.
But yeah, it was whitewashed in a different way where now like a lot of them were either hiding who the actual singers were, either because they didn't look the part for house music or they wanted another black woman in the case of like, you know, the
Fucking Crystal Waters, man.
yes, Rhythm of the Night.
Yeah.
Also, they
Incredible.
they used another black woman instead of the original
What?
black woman.
What?
I don't know why they did that. I
They
was just like,
replaced a black woman with a black woman?
they were like, she's hotter, I guess.
Like, yeah,
we'll
what the
take her.
fuck?
We'll take
I'll
her.
pick.
What about
her.
Hadaway?
No, Hadaway, it's him.
Awesome.
That's him.
Good.
Weather Girls, it's them too. They were also
Hell yeah.
part of Disco. Weather Girls, the big girls here.
It's Raining Men.
It's Raining Men, so they were there. Hallelujah. So, you know, like while I was researching this, I was a bit sad, you know, because the disco was, it's not primordially black women, but there was a lot of black female artists that were there and like that were finally getting celebrated for their music, and just getting to this part, realizing a lot of them were starting to get relocated, you know, in the back of the bus thing, as like gruesome as I could put that metaphor. It was just a bit sad for me. I was just like, oh, okay, like something that was celebrating you guys, and now you guys are like being like pushed in the back to be replaced by faces that would be more capitalized on in societies.
I mean, it might still be happening.
It is still happening.
Just makes you wonder how many more are just like faces and not really.
J-Lo.
What?
What?
Yeah, but I don't think.
Wait, what?
I don't think people know this enough, but the black community definitely knows. J-Lo doesn't sing a lot of her songs, and it's Ashanti that sings it.
Wasn't also Katy Perry doing that earlier in her career, where she was like kind of lip syncing, and then she got caught on stage?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But for J-Lo, it's like even recording wise, if you hear a lot of her songs like Love Don't Cost a Thing or like I'm Real or everything, you hear it and the voices don't match. That's because it's different singers singing her thing, like recording it too. It's not even just a like live thing. I can let it pass in some ways. Like if your voice is fucked, maybe you don't want to do it.
I hate the live
yeah.
thing because oftentimes, like especially like rappers will be like not rapping their bars, and you hear the music playing.
Oh, that's true.
And
that
it's like,
sucks.
dude, I paid money to see you rap, and you're not even fucking doing it.
Yeah, some of them even like they do that and they don't even have enthusiasm about their own song. And then you're like, okay, so you want us to learn your bars and you want us to sing along to your songs.
That was funny.
But then you just want to watch us sing it.
I saw like Ray Shremmerd, and that was all they did.
The
whole song.
So
The whole song. Thankfully, that wasn't who I was going to see. They were just opening up for Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
But it was like, they just like, yo, come on. They just kept hyping people up, and their song was playing in the background.
Yeah, it's like,
they
yo,
fucking did not do any
need
singing
you at all.
I also, I remember somebody told me that apparently Ozzy Osbourne also did that. He had a guy in the backstage who would do his high notes.
That's funny.
That was around like the 80s when they were like Crazy Train, all that.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, just getting older.
Well, Ozzy Osbourne
and more fucked up
yeah.
and less capable.
I wonder how many times he did that with the Post Malone tour he did.
Oh shit,
Probably all of his.
Probably all of it, yeah.
So yeah, it sucks being a black woman. I'm saying.
Jesus Christ.
Would know the feeling.
Portugal, motherfucker.
That's not his fault. He's Portuguese.
It's not his fault. He's
That's not even a
Portuguese.
real country.
That's what it looked like in Poor Things.
See, even he showed how Lisbon is a fake, made-up fantasy place.
It's not a real place. Stop lying.
We got fucking blimp gondolas.
Stop lying, everybody. You're not Portuguese.
We're actually a floating island.
The earth is flat and Portugal doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's on the dark side of the flat earth.
Portugal is just a psyop. We didn't actually do those horrible things in history.
Sure you did. That's a story for another time. So disco came and went, got cool, then uncool, died, but never really died. I really, really fucking love disco. It's breathy, effortless, filled with so much more depth than people realize. It innovated in ways that other music genres wasn't innovating at the time. It was an escape from the racism, poverty, and homophobia that a lot of people were feeling at the time. And even though it wasn't always pretty, there's a lot of dark sides of disco as well. And there was a lot of sharks in that little pond. But most important, it made me feel happy, proud, and honestly, it made me want to dance. And isn't that what disco is all about?
Amen.
Dancing, baby.
Dance,
Wow.
baby. Let's go
Dance
clubbing.
like a duck, baby.
Oh
Fuck
God, fucking disco duck! I'll fucking I want to strangle that
Whack,
little
whack.
fucking shit. Just to end this on that, I just wanted to recommend some of my favorite disco songs real quick.
It's just to redeem the quack quack song.
Yeah. Please do not look at disco duck. There's so much better.
I wonder if that's
disco
on
song.
Spotify.
Yeah,
It is. It has to be. There's no way it's
Oh,
not.
fuck.
But yeah, quick shout out to Luther Vandross, Never Too Much, Sister Sledge, He's the Greatest Dancer, Earth, Wind, and Fire, Let's Groove Tonight, Hell yeah. ABBA, Fernando, Michael Jackson, I Wanna Rock With You, The Whispers, And the Beat Goes On, Chic, Le Freak, Kool and the Gang, Get Down on It, Donna Summer, She Works Hard for the Money, and Love to Love You Baby, Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive, Weather Girls, It's Raining Men, and Sylvester, You Make Me Feel Mighty Real.
Hell yeah.
Is Kung Fu Fighting disco?
Not at all.
Add some of those songs to your playlist
Way to
and put
whiten
your
the list
podcast
up.
on your playlist.
Way to whiten the list up.
Kung Fu Fighting disco.
I was
love that.
looking up disco on Spotify and it gave me Kung Fu Fighting.
That doesn't make any fucking
You got the
sense.
Kung Fu
Actually, wait. It might be because it's a novelty song. Because disco did have a lot of novelty songs, so
Like
it
the duck
might.
song.
Yeah, fuck. It might be. Oh man,
Like the duck song.
like the duck song.
Well, I guess what they say
Unfortunately.
is true. When you stare into a disco long enough, a disco will stare back at you.
Will flash you in the eye and blind you.
Blind you.
Yeah, it's like you look in a fucking mirror.
Oh, Van McCoy, Do the Hustle as well. Love that song.
Nice.
Add
What a
some of
night.
those to your playlist. Add the podcast to your playlist.
Oh yeah, baby.
yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite disco song, The Boys versus Everything.
The Boys versus
The Boys vs. Everything is a great disco song addition. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. I am John. As always, you can follow me on Instagram at Director John Ramirez.
John, nice. Thank you for listening. It was a pleasure.
I thought it was Nick next. My bad. But yes, I'm Priscilla. My Instagram is Pixelated Prisca. But yeah, thank you for listening to my episode.
This is Nicola. You can find my Instagram on nick.serafino. Have a good one.
Thank you, Priscilla.
Don't
Thank
forget
you,
to follow the
listeners.
podcast on Instagram, BVE Pod. That's all, BVE Pod. Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye. Tell me about disco.